Welcome back to Opa Podcast, episode 34. Joining you today is I'm one of your hosts, Jason O.
I'm Griffin most.
And returning, finally, I'm Wyatt Oelkers.
And
Emphasis on finally.
finally, and missing today is our fourth co-host, Laurent's Guider. He's writing an essay for school.
Maybe we will see
so
him again sometime.
so hopefully we'll see him today or a different podcast. So to start off this podcast, will be a quick timeline. We'll be recapping the first game of the season versus Ohio State, and
No.
then preview
Okay.
preview our game versus the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. So to do some quick recap, unfortunately, we lost to Ohio State, number 4 Ohio State, 41-31, losing by
45, 45,
my
31.
bad, 45-31 by 2 touchdowns. For a quick reaction, I think that game should have been closer, but that is just me. And that targeting call that did not get called on Mike Brown-Stevens, I'm still irked by that.
And the sad thing is they went to review it and they still couldn't overturn it.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me a little bit more, honestly.
I believe the Big Ten officially recognized that as an error.
Yeah, like post game.
But it doesn't even matter at that point because it's over. I mean, what good does that
They
do?
suspended the guy for one half of football for a rule that he's supposed to be suspended 2 halves for.
Yeah. More unfortunate news: we lost Mohamed Ibrahim for the rest of the season with a lower leg injury. He was supposedly went to surgery today or yesterday, which will end his season. Wishing him the best for health and recovery. Mike, the Gopher enemy, hopes that he comes back next year. Because I think I think he can get the injury waiver. If not, wish him the best in his future in the NFL. But rough news on us as the Gophers. But he had a monster night though. Like if I gotta pull up his quick stats, 30 carries, 163 yards, 5.4 yards average with 2 tutties and a long of 56 on that 4th and 1 call at our own 29. Oh,
The worst part is I mean, I remember going back and hearing like all these like the Fox broadcasters being like, "Wow, he's like as advertised," and we're kind of sitting there like, "No effing bleepity bleep!" Like, where have you guys been all like the past like 2 years? It's like
Finally getting the recognition he deserves, and
like stop watching all your Ohio State film and drowning yourself in that when there's plenty of other talent outside of the top 10.
yep.
And to be honest, OSU did not even look like a top 10 team, if we're being quite honest. CJ Stroud on that first drive looked like he was bothered. Absolutely bothered. Granted, it looks better, and what also sucks too is pretty much every one of their touchdowns was like 30 plus yards. So
Yeah. But
so I don't think they should be in the top 10 anytime soon.
any takes from your end, Wyatt?
I don't know that I have any strong takes on the game that haven't already been sort of commented on here. Obviously, the targeting was a big deal, but
here's for you, Wyatt.
obviously,
Special teams.
Yeah, I was gonna say Crawford, bro.
Mark Crawford, 3 punts, average 38.7 yards, long of 45 on the night. And then Matthew Trickett, I think that's how you pronounce it, was 1 for 1 on field goals, 46 yards, and then was also perfect for his extra point attempts as well.
We'll take it. We'll take it. No more Brock Walker and Michael Lance.
Woo!
Those experiments are over.
So tired of bad special teams. Having special teams that perform the way they did, even if it's not great, was a relief.
Yep. And also Terrell Smith was the only player in the entire game that recorded an interception that night too.
Tea time.
Tea time.
We take those.
And then also mentioned our wide receivers, despite not having crap, I think they did all right. Daniel Jackson was our leading receiver for 3 receptions at 58 yards, so average 19.3, along with 22. Dalen Wright, not Dylan, if you ask PJ, 5 receptions for 57 yards, 11.4 average with 1 tutty.
And his touchdown was beautiful too, by the way.
It was a beautiful touchdown as well. And then, of course, behind him, Brevin Spanford, the boy that we've always been passionate about, has some game time at 3 receptions at 44 yards, 14.7 yards average. Then behind him is Mike Brown-Stevens. Unfortunately, I think he probably left with a concussion. That did not look good. And then Trey Potts, our running back. But
yeah, Stevens seems really, really hesitant for some reason. He dropped, I think, a couple, but he dropped one, I know for sure. That was just kind of floated right in there from Tanner. And you got to catch those. If it's in your vicinity, you got to catch those.
Yeah. But other than that, this is a quick recap of the game. I'd say I had fun. Like the first half was, stress-inducing Gophers as usual, and then of course the comeback to end the half. I'd say in the end, I was over a positive of what team we got. Like I think we can use this as a, getting burned by the bridges in that game at the end there will be a valuable lesson in the season moving forward because it's Ohio State. Like I think they're one of the better teams in the Big Ten that I think can lead our team to like the next step. Especially the guys that need to step up, like in the running back room with Mo being out.
Well, and I think, like you said, losing by 2 touchdowns wasn't what that game was looking to be. That game was a closer game than it looks on the final scoreboard.
Yeah.
And we should really use that as a stepping off point, saying, hey, we've got what it takes to hang with some of the best in this country. So let's do it week in and week out.
Yep. So with that in mind, let's transition on to our next opponent. We'll be facing the Miami of Ohio Redhawks from the MAC. Our last matchup with these guys, we played back in 2018, guys. So that was like your senior years, I think, right? Yep. And that was, I think, so that game we won 26-3. And at the time, that was Zach Annexstad under quarterback. And currently Minnesota leads the series against Miami of Ohio. We're 4-0 in the last 4 matchups against them. This game will air on ESPNU with John Schriffen and Renee Ingoglia. And then on KFAN radio with Mike Grimm for play-by-play, Daryl Thompson as analyst, Justin Guard a reporter. Yeah. But some more fun facts about this game. Before we play this game, Minnesota is currently 19 victories in non-conference play. Our last loss being in 2015, our rookie year in the marching band. We lost to TCU. So yeah, and under PJ Fleck, he's 11-0 in non-conference play. So yeah, and what's funny thing behind us in terms of other teams, Iowa and Kentucky are at 12 straight non-conference wins, and then Alabama's at 4th with 9 wins. So the fact that Minnesota is up there numbers-wise is great to see.
And honestly, I hope Bryce Williams is kind of the lead back in this game, to be honest, because I know he ran for like 140 yards in that game.
Yep.
So that would be fun to see again from like our number 4 back.
Yep. And this I know there's like a lot of reports and articles about this already, but I feel this is what happened back in 18. Remember in 18, that's the year we won the Axe, right? Rodney goes out with injury, Shannon goes out with injury, that we had Mo, who was like, essentially off and on, like small injuries here and there. And it had to be like him, Bryce Williams, and I think who do we have a third tailback that was involved, or is that Rodney still?
Was it like Femi Cole or something?
Could be Femi Cole, but I don't know if he left already at that time. But essentially, our running backs were forced into the games, like our young tailbacks. And over the course of the season, like Mohammed and Bryce improved so much that they were the catalyst to us winning against Wisconsin. Mainly Mo, but I'm really hoping either be Trey Potts, Bryce Williams, Cam Wiley, or I'm mentioning one of my the guy that I like, Preston Jellin, who went the Mohammed Ibrahim route, like was on scout team. He was a walk-on that got awarded a scholarship. But I'm just excited that sad that we lost Mo, but I'm excited what our tailbacks can do because they're talented. We know that. It's just that I want to see the the pair and despair that we sorely missed since 2019.
Well, 2018 was the season of Zach Annexstad's injury as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was out for half the season.
So 2018 was the season that Tanner Morgan sort of stepped up to the plate and did his business as well.
And that was the season where we fired Rob Smith.
Yeah,
and then replaced it with Joe Rossi. But that's in the Gopher side. But let's talk about our opponents. So Miami, Ohio, had a very rough first game, more rough than we did, to say the least. They played against number 8 Cincinnati, losing 49-14. Desmond Ridder, Cincinnati's quarterback, who is supposed to be a high draft pick this next season, had an 80% completion percentage.
That'll get the scouts' numbers or eyes widening.
Yep. And so Wyatt, I think you'll be surprised by these facts. I told these at Griffin earlier, but their quarterback, AJ Mayer, was 9 completions of 28 attempts, so 32% completion percentage for 109 yards, and had 2 sacks with a quarterback rating of 64.8.
You can't get things done like that. No, that's not how you.
Their lead rusher is Keon Mosey, 15 carries for 80 yards, 5.3 average, no touchdowns. But their second best tailback, Kenny Tracy, 8 carries, 37 yards, had 1 touchdown in that game. Receiving core, their lead receiver, Mark Hippenhammer, had 3 receptions for 64 yards, no touchdowns. And then looks like no field goals for their kicking team, just extra points. And then they did have their other touchdown came from a defensive touchdown.
I'm assuming that was late in the game.
Probably fumble recovery or interception, I believe. Yeah, fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Was it later in the game?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the stat sheet on paper.
Oh,
so
you don't have the box score?
Yeah, just like the box score stats. But in contrast, for our Gophers, Tanner Morgan, currently on the season, was 14 completions of 25 attempts at 205 yards. But that's a 56% completion percentage. But a lot of people I'd say they were too harsh on him. I think he did what the play gave him. Like if he needed to, I think I saw a lot. I said this last podcast with Griffin, Wyatt. I want to see Tanner make quarterback decisions like yes, get the call from Mike Sanford and PJ on the sideline, but if things go to hell in that plays or those plays, make his own decision. And I saw a lot more of him just like running for it when he didn't see the play that he liked, throwing RPOs that as he always does when he makes his reads, and of course when he didn't have Mo, he did a lot of that, and I think he had a okay night. It wasn't as greatest night, like Penn State, but you know, it was reasonable in my mind. I don't know what you guys thought of that his play last game versus what we expect coming up.
Listen, I don't think that his play in the Ohio State game was vintage Tanner. I think that's less than Tanner's capable of. And I'd like to see this coaching staff push him more, especially with Mo out. But you also got to give him credit for going up against one of the toughest teams in not just the Big Ten, but the entire NCAA. Like, that's not an easy team to go play against, especially when you're down your number one wide receiver.
And also, he threw, I forgot to mention, no interceptions that game.
I think Tanner played a clean game, but I think he's capable of more.
Yeah,
I'd really like to see what they're going to do with him in this Miami of Ohio game. Give him a nice confidence boost.
I think this Miami team is the one where they can branch out and try some new things, because there's nobody on their defense that I know of that's particularly impressive.
I actually did look up the box score, by the way, and that the interception was a late touchdown. So I'm assuming that Cincy put in backups.
Probably.
Since he did put in one of their backups at the end. He was like 0 for 1.
Playing a starter at quarterback.
Yep. But I don't know. Because looking at what ESPN says, so ESPN's FPI has Minnesota 91.7% over Miami, Ohio's 8.3%. So ESPN thinks we'll win. Of course, the money line says so too. Spread is minus 20 in favor of the Gophers, with an over
the
under.
Spread is 20 points.
Yes, with an over under of 53.5.
Jeez.
Also, ESPN, get your act together. It's not TCF Bank Stadium anymore. It's now Huntington Bank Stadium, unfortunately.
ESPN won't change that until Huntington Bank yells at them enough.
Yeah, and makes ESPN pay money.
ESPN's always the one that comes out 2 hours late with a story.
Yep. But yeah. Anything else we want to talk about this game coming up against Miami of Ohio? Besides, we have a great team. Like
we know that we've got capable players on our roster, and it's just taking advantage of the players that we have, even in the absence of the players that we really wish we had.
Yeah. Y'all okay? We go to predictions then for Miami of Ohio. So Wyatt, last podcast when you were absent, we Griffin and I already gave our predictions for the whole season. So Griffin, you and I said we were winning Miami of Ohio, but we didn't say what scores. So with the information we have in mind, I'll start with Griffin. What do you think?
Let's go. Let's kind of go similar to what they just had over in Cincinnati.
So you want to say 49-14?
I'm going to say 42-14.
Okay.
That's a lot.
I know it is.
That's a lot of points right there.
You already know we're just going to be handing the ball off and running the clock.
All right, Wyatt, what about you?
Let's go with a 38-17 game. Favor the Gophers.
Thanks for the clarification.
Wait, so Griffin does... I think Griffin just... No. Oh, cover the spread means we cover the 53.5, right? Or more?
No, that's the over-under. Covering the spread means that we're 20 or more points ahead of them.
Okay, so I'd say we'll cover the spread. And I'm going to say 45. We'll get a field goal in there somehow to help our special teams' hearts to 14. So we'll still cover the spread.
That's plenty of coverage for the spread.
Ohio State barely covered the spread in the last game, but they covered.
Ohio State did not cover the spread in the last game.
I thought it was 13.5. Did they change it?
I heard it was 14.5.
Ooh.
I thought they dropped it to. I mean, I could be wrong. I thought they dropped it to 13, but now I'm curious.
No, Nick Fletcher put a bet down on the Gophers covering the spread.
So that's how you know.
I guess if he didn't get money, that would be
snuck out with the money there.
All right.
Well, Wyatt, since you're here, we want to ask you to tell us your predictions, wins and losses, no scores for the rest of the season. What was
all right? Run me down that schedule.
So Ohio State, before the season, where do you think will we win or lose?
Listen, I didn't think we were going to win that game. I like how close we played it. I actually think we played it closer than I would have originally projected.
Yep.
But I didn't have us winning that game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then we just got Miami, Ohio. Next up, we are at Colorado. Win or lose?
I think we can take a win in Colorado. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Gophers will continue that non-conference winning streak.
And then the last non-conference game, we're at home against Bowling Green.
That should definitely be a win on homecoming.
Yes.
Don't doubt it.
All right. Now we're back into Big Ten play. We were at Purdue in West Lafayette.
We can take the win at Purdue. Purdue is not a team that I'm afraid of this season. We can definitely beat them.
We have a bye. Always win the bye.
No, I think we take that one.
Next up, at home against Scott Frost's Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, Scott Frost's Nebraska Cornhuskers should be scared of this Gophers team because this Gophers team's got grit, man. We're gonna beat Scott Frost, and it's gonna be one of the signature games of the season for us.
All right. Next up, at home against Maryland.
Yeah, I think because we have them at home, we can take that Maryland team.
Okay.
On the road, I'd be skeptical, but I think by then we'll be clicking. Hopefully we can take that dub.
All right. At Northwestern. Griffin and I said losses at Evanston.
This is definite. Yeah, this is one that I don't trust. It's an off year for Northwestern, but I never like going to Ryan Field. They'll give us a loss
here. The exception was 2019 when we won that game. All right. After Northwestern, we are at home against the Illini.
Yeah, we should be able to take the win against them.
Hold up.
Did you see them this past week?
When's our last loss? Was that 18 against them?
So yeah, it was
19, 20.
It was like 55-31. I think it was 2018 Rob Smith defense.
Okay. So 2022 is when we'll lose to them because it's every 3-4 years we lose the Illini. So okay, I just want to make sure. Next up, we were at Iowa, so we were in Kinnick.
We're at Kinnick.
Yeah.
With 2 losses on the season, at this point, I see us going into Kinnick as a team that people want to be good, but Kinnick's not a good place to go if you're a team that's doing well. So I'm taking an L at Kinnick.
Okay. Then
Indiana couldn't even keep up.
At Indiana. What do you say?
Indiana looked rough against Iowa. And I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if Indiana's just a team that's going to underperform again this year or if they just had a fluke game. Because we're in Indiana, I'll take an L there. I think it's good. I think that game could go either way, but we'll see what Indiana's doing at that point.
All right, and then our last home game of the season and last game of the regular season, Thanksgiving weekend, is against the Wisconsin Badgers.
I think the Gophers are going to be at full force at that point, but there's no doubt in my mind that Wisconsin's a tough team to play anytime we play them. So I'm not going to take that game for granted. I'm going to put us at a loss for that one, and hopefully I'm wrong.
And although I think that game will be closer than people think because Graham Mertz was not looking fantastic either.
Yeah.
Well, the hope for Wisconsin is obviously that Graham Mertz kicks it into gear, but It definitely looks like it was a rough start.
The only QB kicking it into gear was Jack Cohn, and he just destroyed with Notre Dame.
Jack Cohn. All right, so Wyatt, your overall record for the season is 7-5 versus mine. I'm very optimistic at 9-3.
Ooh.
And Griffin at 8-4.
That means that Laurens will have us at 5-7.
Probably. No, what's funny, you and Griffin agreed mostly. Only the games that you two disagreed, which is Wisconsin, but I disagreed with you with Indiana. I think we win at Indiana, and I think the performance on the field I saw against Iowa, I think it's good. I think they're in the rough patch because Michael Penix or Phoenix, I don't know how you pronounce Penix. I never seen one great season besides 19. Or was it 2020?
Well, he spent half of last season on the shelf. He was fantastic until he got hurt.
Yeah. And
you got to remember, this is a quarterback who basically carried his team to a win against Penn State.
Yeah.
That nobody thought they were going to take.
And then also, there's no Payne Ramsey at backup. So, like, I don't trust their depth chart behind quarterback. And they lost some talent too. So I said win, but that's just mine. So
it's a matter of if Michael Penix shows up and stays healthy.
Yeah. But that's So again, I'm 9-3, Griffin 8-4, you're 7-5. We can probably say for Wyatt 5-7, probably.
Laurens at 5-7 makes a whole lot of sense. I'd rather pass on the group.
But other than that, hot takes?
It's not a hot take to say that Scott Frost will be fired at this point. That's an ice cold take. I still think that Jim Harbaugh's time is coming. Jim Harbaugh's time is coming, and it's coming quicker than anybody will expect it to.
Didn't Joe Milton transfer, or is that different?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah. Jim, just go back to the NFL.
Hey, Griff, I heard you had some hot takes about Indiana.
I won't say it to your face, though.
I really do hope that Indiana bounces back after that Iowa loss. That's a tough way to lose that first game.
I love the meme I saw. I was like, you lost to fucking Spencer Petras.
That's been a meme, not just this season, but last season they were doing it too.
Yeah. But not a hot take, but NFL game season starts tomorrow. Bucks versus Cowboys. Where Bucks will hang the banner.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the season to start.
I'm ready to watch NFL football again. The Vikings are playing again this Sunday too against the Cincinnati Bengals. I will say it was rough watching the preseason for the Vikings.
Well, the preseason's always rough.
Yeah, but if I do have a hot take though, I think Mike Zimmer still will get fired by the end of the season though. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if we make playoffs or not. Like, we can't win with his style of his coaching style plus Kirk Cousins. I want to.
Well, Kirk Cousins quarterbacks well, but he doesn't win games.
No, and even though we have Dalvin Cook, and then Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, I don't think we can get over the hump.
And Dede Westbrook. Don't forget about our boy Dede.
Dede.
Yeah, don't forget about Dede.
And most of our defense is back too, but
plus Patrick Peterson.
Rashad Breeland we got from the Chiefs.
Great pickup.
I like the roster.
Everson Griffin's back
with 97. Michael Pierce traded his number back. Is now wearing 58. But no, I like what we have on the Vikings. It's just I don't know if Kirk Cousins
I don't
and
think we
Zimmer
can
can
clear
win
the
this
hump with
games.
Kirk Cousins. I don't think that he's the quarterback for us.
Kellen Mond looked hot at that last preseason game.
Well, hopefully he can develop.
Yeah. If he doesn't, well, Vikings are screwed. But I know Laurence ain't here, but Andy Dalton may start for the Bears.
Right? I mean, he was told that he was going to be the week 1 starter. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them not want to throw Shields to the Lions from day 1. Metaphorical Lions, not literally the Lions.
Yeah. But other than that, I digress. But any other hot takes or any things of excitement coming up for this football season?
I don't think I got any super hot takes right now.
No. My hot take last week was Indiana was going to win the Big Ten.
I wish I would have been here last week because I would have thrown out the hot take that Georgia was going to beat Clemson, and I would have been right.
Oh, I do love
an ugly football game.
I will note this. I love the shade that Eric Kendricks did on his Instagram when UCLA beat LSU, and he had the UCLA cap coming up to Justin Jefferson, Patrick Peterson, and Daniil Hunter in the locker room. Was like, hey, here's a hat. I love NFL and college football, but we all do. But
we all do.
I think we gotta. If there's nothing else, let's wrap up the podcast. We'll let Wyatt go back to reading for school. Griffin can go to bed. So can I.
God bless.
Yes, but awesome. Well, to all of our fans and listeners, thank you so much for listening to tonight's podcast. Again, I plan to be at the game, not in the stands, but on the field as a photographer. I don't know about these two here, but if
I probably will not, but
I probably won't be at this game, but down the line I'll be something.
Yeah, but if you see us at a game, say hi. We're not too shy to talk football. But other than that, we'll call it a night, and we'll see everyone again next time. So again, I'm one of your hosts, Jason O.
Griffin Most.
I'm Wyatt Oelkers.
And Ope.
Ope.